Hello, my ghouls and geeks. Welcome back to Podcast for the Recently Released. I'm your host, Liz Stardust.
And I'm Default Male 1.
If you are watching us on YouTube, hi, welcome.
Howdy.
Thanks for being here. Please don't mind my roots, because they're bad. I got some serious stuff going on. All the hair
It's like a
salons are
sweet
closed.
headband.
Yeah,
It's like a...
Well, don't describe it for them, because if they're listening, they should just watch it on YouTube.
Oh.
Check out our YouTube channel where podcasts were recently released on there. Our most recent, 3 or 4 episodes are on there, and this one now. So check us out on YouTube. And as I was saying, obviously the quarantine has made it so that businesses that are in close proximities, like, barbers and hair salons and tattoo parlors like us, can't do anything, so I have really crazy hair and I'm upset about it. So don't clock me for it.
You could just wear a wig.
Yeah, but that's so much work. Wigs are, and my hair's curly right now. It's not this is boring, but it's not straight, so when I have to put it in a wig, it's a lot harder to fit all my hair in there.
I see.
Yeah, you don't understand because you have
My hair's messy. I just put it in the hat.
Yeah, but it's short.
For now.
Alright, this is not interesting.
Until it gets to Jerry Seinfeld status.
Oh, God. We binge-watched a show this week.
Yeah.
And we watched it in 2 days, maybe a day and a half, because we wanted something new to talk about, and it was short and sweet.
Which is fast for us, even in this quarantine situation, because we got a lot of other things we do.
Yeah. That was The Outsider, right? That was
yep,
called?
on HBO.
We also got a chance to play a little bit more of Yooka-Laylee, which is a game that came out a couple years ago.
Yeah, it came out in 2017.
And then we played another game that we're not done with, but it's called, what's it called?
It's called The Man Chris Catan.
Yes. We all have different names.
No, it's from a company called The Dark Pictures, Man of Medan.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about those today as well as, I don't know, whatever else we want to get into.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, the newest thing is The Outsider show, but we're going to be watching some movies because I feel like we have to just binge through stuff right now to have things to talk about, especially because a lot of you are home too with some free time where you're probably watching shows or wanting to play games and stuff. We thought about getting the new Resident Evil or Final Fantasy, but I don't know if that's really up our alley right now.
Yeah, we're not sure which one we want to put our time into yet, especially because this one's playing Animal Crossing it's going out of style.
Yeah, I logged a lot of hours on there. It's pretty serious. But let's talk about, I guess, the show first, since that's the newest thing.
All right.
Is that cool?
I'm down.
All right.
You want to go first?
Yeah, so we're really into horror and spooky things, as you guys can tell. And so when Joe told me about the show on HBO, I got hyped because HBO has some pretty good shows, to be honest. They do a really good job with their stuff. But it's a Stephen King show. And
there's a lot of.
Yeah, there's a lot of, when I was a kid, I grew up watching Stephen King movies. Pet Sematary was, one of the first, horror movies I remember watching really young. And I remember, what was it? Rose Red was the TV show that he did. It was a part show on television, and it was so unique to me that I really liked it. And I've always been a Stephen King fan, so when Castle Rock came out, a couple years ago, we were, super into it.
Yeah, Castle Rock was a lot of fun.
And that's obviously a different network, so I'm here for anything that he's going to do. And what I liked about this one is that it was a complete series in just 10 episodes.
Yeah.
I enjoy miniseries. I mean, I feel like sometimes they leave more room for questions, which is a lot of his stuff.
Is it a miniseries, or is it going to be a full series?
No, that's it. It's completed.
What?
Yeah, I told you this.
No.
It's 10 episodes. If you look at
Wikipedia...
Don't
listen to her.
It is.
She's not telling the truth.
It is the truth.
Okay.
Where'd you read that?
I don't know. We'll see.
It says miniseries, and then it says that it ended on March something. It started in January, so it's done. I looked it up.
Damn.
I know. But that's his thing, though. He leaves it open-ended. He gives you a conclusion, but still leaves room for questions.
Castle Rock got 2 seasons, just saying.
Yeah, but they were completely different. They weren't the same thing. They only each thing tied in a different way, but it wasn't a continuation of those characters. All right. And I would love if I didn't look for Easter eggs in this one, but if there was little Easter eggs to Castle Rock or something, I would have loved that.
Yeah, there might have been. But I really wasn't thinking about that the whole
Well,
time.
because the story was so intense. So let me get into the actual story, because we just talked about Stephen King for a moment.
Give us a basic summary here.
So basically, we get introduced to this town, and it seems like it's a general, like, small town. You thought it was set in, like, earlier 2000s, because they kept showing, like, really old, like, cars and wallpaper and, like iPods that are super old and stuff.
Yeah, they showed a couple, like, it wasn't, I'm not saying it's, like, set, like, way back. I'm saying, like, set in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Like, they had one of, like, the maybe second generation iPods, and, like, 2 people had one.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, like, it was back to modern day, and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, it was a little hard to read, but basically what happens is there's a murder of a small child, and it's immediately, like, right in front of you in the first episode. They jump right into the murder. They show how graphic it is. And then you kind of get to play detective. So because there's these detectives trying to figure out who murdered this boy, they start interviewing people, but it cuts to scenes where it's their point of view. So you can see, I guess, the person they're accusing. And it's just really fun the way they did that, I feel like. What is his name?
Which person's name?
The suspected murderer.
The suspected murderer in the beginning?
Terry, Maitland.
Yeah, Terry Maitland.
Yeah, and who's the actor? Because I can never say his name, but he's in a lot of stuff.
The actor for that is...
Jason...
Bateman.
Jason Bateman. He's in a lot of stuff. He does that Ozark show, too, no? Is that not him?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he does a lot of stuff. I would really like him. I don't know if I want to get too spoilery into the show. Maybe we'll do.
I'm pretty sure he directs the show, though.
He directs some episodes. I don't think all of it.
Really?
Yeah, I looked at it because it said different directors, but basically his character is accused of murdering this child, and
like brutally murdering.
Like, yeah, it's really serious. And when it pans over to like the people that they're interviewing, they show clear photos that it's clearly this guy, but he has an alibi because he was at a press conference and hours away from that location, and there's video evidence of him there, but there's also video evidence of him with seeing the crime kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So it's really interesting because at first you're like, well, okay, did he do it? Is he some kind of like weird werewolf? Is there some kind of like doppelganger situation going on? Is it really just him not realizing he's doing this? And you don't really know what the truth is.
Yeah, and then they kind of start giving you a couple clues within one or two episodes that you're like, okay, something's off.
I think maybe like from this point on we could just talk about it. So if you don't want to be spoiled and watch it for yourself, like I said, it's 10 episodes. There's some really fucking great characters in there. Pretty
really
much
cool.
Everybody we
great
really
cast.
liked.
It's a lot of like really like top guys in it.
But watch the trailer for yourself, and from now on, this is going to be just spoilers because I feel like I want to talk about it. I love the other detectives. The one that's like kind of Spanish. I don't know what his name is.
Yeah. What's his name?
He's fantastic. I love Holly. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Holly. She's fantastic. She's kind of like this super brain whiz, like
Cynthia Erivo.
Yeah, she's super intelligent and very interesting as a character. She's helping the detectives on the case because they want to prove Terry's innocence, because obviously he can't be at two places
Yeah, and
at
she's
once.
like Rain Man.
I guess you could say that. But she's really charming, and she has the ability to kind of, I guess, know things that people don't. Like, she's a true believer in things.
Not necessarily that she does like premonitions and stuff.
No, but
she's like
so
I said, like Rain Man. Like, she can tell things when she walks into a room.
That's what I mean, like the buildings.
How tall something is.
Yeah, she can tell how tall a building is and all this crazy shit, like just by looking at it. So like she's got this unique brain, which they kind of get into, but not really. It's never explained.
Yeah, so she's hired as a private investigator.
Mm-hmm. Aside from that, Terry dies at one point.
Yeah, Jason Bateman's character.
Which I was kind
spoiler, you know.
Well, this is already all spoiler area, so we don't need to say that.
I know, but he's one of the more exciting actors to see.
I know, but it doesn't matter. We're saying this is so they know, but at this point, if they're still watching, they're going to get spoiled. It doesn't matter. Correct? Cool. Okay, so he dies. It's shocking. We didn't expect him to die.
All right.
Especially because he's such a big actor, correct?
Yeah.
But that leads into other issues with his family, and the cops that were working on this case because they immediately accused him of the murder without actually looking into it. And I feel like you should probably talk a little bit about this since you're not saying much, and I'm getting a little bit confuzzled with my words, but I'm just excited about it.
About what part now? Where do you want me to take over?
Basically, we get up to the point where we realize that Terry isn't the one who did the murder. It's not like he forgot things. He was clearly somewhere else. He's clearly innocent, and he gets murdered going to his trial, which is what I was saying. So from that point on, kind of, I guess...
Okay, so it starts out with his story, and then basically it goes from there to the police story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you've got the main detective, Ralph, and then you've got a couple other guys involved. His, I guess, maybe partner, this guy Eunice that you like.
Yes, he's great.
And then there's a couple other, like, randos that come into play.
Gingerbeard.
Gingerbeard guy who works with the lawyer, I believe. That's what's his name? He plays Alec Pelly.
Does he work for the lawyer? I guess, kind of.
Yeah, he works for a lawyer named Howard. Or they call him Howie.
Howie!
Yeah, and basically, the lawyer and the assistant to the lawyer, basically, they are working for the wife of the husband, Mayfield, that passed away.
Yeah.
So, it's basically a big conflict between the detectives and the lawyers and stuff because... she's saying that obviously her husband didn't do this, and obviously everybody's conflicted. It's a small town. Everybody knows each other, so people are very confused, and at the same time, they feel like they have to, you know...
Well, he's wrongfully accused immediately. Then he goes to his trial, gets murdered. Then after that, she has to deal with the fact that he was wrongfully accused. She doesn't have her husband anymore. They have children, and she can't live a normal life anymore.
Yeah, and the thing about this that's puzzling for everybody that we really haven't totally talked about is that the whole fact is when he basically committed this murder and they arrested him, basically he was at two places at once, 70 miles apart from each other.
That's what I said. Mm-hmm.
So they were going through footage and going back and forth basically on a wild goose chase between the detectives and the lawyers trying to figure out who could catch who first for what end, if they want to do guilty, not guilty. Mm-hmm. So that's basically the driving force behind the whole intro to the story.
But that's like 2 or 3 episodes.
Well, that's what I'm saying, the whole intro. It's only, 10 episodes?
I mean, they continue to try and prove his innocence throughout the story, but like that with him, it's so short in comparison to the rest of the show.
Yeah, I mean, that still even is part of the resolve at the end.
Yeah,
still
for sure.
Going back to Terry.
Yeah.
But, and then when they finally start to figure out that things are off, basically the main thing that makes everybody transition onto almost the same team of we need to figure out what's really going on is when somebody just goes AWOL, and it's the son of one of the kids that, the older brother of the kid that died, was brutally murdered, goes AWOL, and basically when he's going to trial, tries to shoot him, kills 2 cops, gets shot in the head by the detective.
Before we get in, you're absolutely right. The kid that shoots Terry was the brother of the child that was murdered, but at that time, his mother also had a heart attack and died. Yeah. So he was like full of rage and went to kill him, and then after he goes to kill Terry, he gets shot in the head, and the father commits suicide. So it's a strain of events with people close to them or family members that you see to kind of goes on with this story is once a person is taken and dies, like the kid was,
everybody else falls. Like
everybody
dominoes.
else gets affected. And it goes into like a mythology and the story of what this creature or character could be.
And as soon as that happens, people are like, something's up, and everybody starts looking into it heavy.
Yeah.
And then they start showing you these basic like moments where they show the shadowy figure with the hoodie on and a really warped looking kind of face that you can't see.
So like Castle Rock.
So you're like, oh yeah, so it's very Castle Rock vibes for sure.
And I'm intrigued by it. I mean, the whole time I wanted to just see more of that character, like the villainous doppelganger. I want to see more of that because we only really hear him talk for like maybe 2 episodes. But he does make a presence in Terry's house at one point. He goes and sees the daughter and tries to have conversations with her.
And basically this guy is like a shapeshifter. He has the ability to take the appearance of somebody else and their DNA,
Mm-hmm.
and then go commit a crime and basically blame it on them. Their DNA is there. There's video surveillance of them. The whole deal.
So he creates the doppelganger,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes through a series of a few days. So when we see him blurred face, that's because he's almost like going from a cocoon to like a butterfly. Like he's going through that, you know what I'm saying? Like a metamorphosis
Butterfly
kind of shit.
man.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying he has different stages. So there's a point where he's like super blurry. Then there's one where his face is kind of distorted. Then there's one where he's kind of normal but fucked up. And then he's good. And then he's, whatever. So the whole premise is figuring out how this man became Terry, essentially. And you find out, like, through detective work that it was because he came in contact with a nurse who scratched him on accident.
Yeah, they do backtracking of a bunch of people that had met him, but then also they backtrack and find across states that, like, multiple people have killed multiple children and been arrested for it or died or whatever.
Yeah.
That
Same
claim
arrest.
were falsely accused.
Yeah.
Same type of MO, like same deal all the way
A child
through.
is missing. They have evidence that they're in different locations, but it doesn't matter to the police. And it's essentially the same story for all. The detective Holly finds that and goes to all these places. But it's interesting to me that because I love the research aspect of any like horror murder mystery kind of show. I love when they get deep into it. So I felt like they did a lot of that, which I liked. Because they found out Terry, like I said, came in contact with a nurse, and the nurse came in contact with a woman who slept with another woman, and it's a whole big thing.
Yeah, it's a lot.
The whole thing is scratching, it seems to be, is kind of how it gets passed around.
Yeah, like, and then he creates basically like almost like a hive type thing. Where,
That's a great way of
where
putting
he's
it.
like a host, and then he can kind of urge them to do things or cause them pain if they don't do things and get in their head.
This like this like welted like boil aspect on the back of their neck.
Until of course then he's strong enough to like shapeshift and go kill some babies or something.
But we see him turn into Terry. We kind of see it with two other characters earlier, like the backstories, but we don't really see that. And then later on he becomes two other characters. One was, what's his name, Jake? Is that his name? The other police officer? Or Jim? Jeff? There's a...
He becomes the host for the one guy, Jack, the one officer.
Jack.
And then he turns into, by the end, a guy named Claude, who is the owner of the strip club, or strip club manager.
We saw him as Terry, the doppelgangers and stuff, so it was interesting to see him fully, like, control a human and not do that, because at first I thought maybe Terry was controlled by something and didn't realize what it was.
And then they get them, like, gross, like, extreme Dr. Pimple Popper style zits all over them in the area they were scratched.
It seems like at one point, too, with Jack, he makes his mom appear and tortures him kind of with that at one point. And I don't know if that was supposed to be him himself or he is able to
like he gets his ass whooped by his mom, basically.
Yeah, it seems like she was saying, I don't remember the term, but it's like they're projecting themselves. Like if I'm here, I'm able to put like a projection of myself, you know, if I'm not in the room, whatever that is. It seems like that's maybe an ability he has. So there's a lot of things that the monster, I guess we'll say, for this show has that I don't think was talked about enough, and that's probably my biggest issue with this show. However, it's Stephen King, so like it's to be expected.
There's a lot of good gore involved, like pretty epic stuff going on with that.
The monster needs to eat, so you get a lot of
cool stuff like that going on. The one character though that does become like victim to him like a lot, and he goes on a rampage towards the end and just starts wrecking people, and he's like ex-military guy that became a police officer, and he's pretty nuts. So like that's pretty epic when that all starts to go down. That really becomes pretty nuts. And
there's even a lot of characters we haven't talked about and plots. So I think like if you're even remotely interested in one Stephen King or a horror type of show like this, then you'll like it a lot. I'm surprised that they did that much in 10 episodes. Yeah,
there was a lot in it, but at the same time, they kept most of the people in a tight group to where, like, I don't know, you didn't seem to be, like, there wasn't any characters I didn't like, right?
No, I liked all of them. I thought the wife's, attitude was well deserved for the bullshit she went through.
Yeah, she was cool.
I thought that Holly was great. I thought the cop, not being on board with everything right away was perfect, and his storyline was great. The wife was funny. There's, what, too? There's a lot of comedic things.
There's a lot of humor in this show.
Oh my god.
A lot of just, funny banter.
Like, just one line. Shit. Yeah, it's so fast, and you just catch it, and you're like, what the fuck? Did they just put some, humor in here? It's written very well. The dialogue is great in the show. I don't really have complaints with that. I mean, it visually looks really nice. My thing is, again, I wish there was a little bit more on the actual, what do they call him? The kook. He's like a...
Yeah, they have a nickname for him. They call him, what is it, El Cuco?
Yeah.
Young kooky boy.
He's basically like the boogeyman. And so he's able to shapeshift, and he's able to be your doppelganger, and he's able to, control you with the hive, like you're saying. But there's a point where Holly goes and confronts him at the end, and she's like, where are you from? Why are you doing this? Is there more of you? And she's asking all these questions, and he just dodges all of them. The only thing he responds to is is there more of me? I've always wanted to, meet another one, or he makes, a joke like that. But
yeah,
I would love to know more, because they do the lore a little bit. That's how she finds out what he is. Every country has its own, boogeyman type of thing. But I wish there was still more answers to where he, actually came from and why this is a thing. And
yeah, and you would think if that's the case, then it probably wouldn't be just him, and he wouldn't, or he would technically kind of give you a hint that he is the rumors from every country out there over time.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. So that gives me that vibe yo, why can't there be more of these? Or they could continue it with another one or something. Or there could have been another one in the season.
Well, because at the end they kill him, but, do they actually kill him? Because it shows the girl has a scratch at her arm at the end, too.
Yeah, and I guess, if he's trapped and, would wither away and starve, would he just die? Or would he just be, petrified until he eventually, I don't know, a bunch of worms crawl in his mouth?
You barely know what this character is, so how do you know that you killed him?
Yeah, it's very confusing.
And
towards
also,
the end, it slows down and gets to that point where they kill him, and you're so it gives you a lot of time to be does it kill him? Does it not kill him? I don't know.
Well, he has, like we said a few times, he changes every few days, so he has a point where he's, really morphed in the face, and then he changes and stuff. But, how has nobody else ever discovered this? Are they the only people who have ever done this? Why isn't there any, besides the lore, why isn't there, I don't know, a forum on the internet of people talking about these cases all together or something? You know what I mean? I feel I guess it's different towns and stuff, but for New York was one of them. I feel New York, somebody would have blew up that article,
Yeah, or just in general, with this being a small town though, and this dude just showing up in the background in areas and just standing there while people are doing stuff.
Yeah.
You would think somebody would be hey, what's with Silly Putty Face over there?
Yeah.
What is that dude doing?
I think one of my favorite parts of the season was when they went to the furry, convention. I'm calling it the furry camp that they went to, you know what I'm saying? And with the family. That family was great. One kid...
That wasn't a furry thing.
I'm making a joke.
They just had masks.
I know, I was making a joke. I called it...
I'm thinking to myself, what did they go to?
No, we were watching it, and they all had masks, and I said, oh, I like the furry convention.
Oh, jeez.
I made a joke, but they go to I can't remember what it was called. It's a Woodstock thing, but it's for families. It's Kidstock, I think it's called, and they all have masks
But
on.
they do it where they have the caves.
Yeah, so there's caves you can explore and go through the woods and stuff, but there's a point where the cuckoo or whatever his name is, the Baba Yaga,
boy, yeah,
he comes over to kidnap a kid to eat him, and they get into a fight with the dude because the sister starts screaming for help for her brother.
Yeah, because people notice him walking away with some guy holding his shoulder, and they're hey,
but when they beat him up, there's video recordings and photos and stuff, and you could see his face is still distorted, which is when the main cop.
Yeah, but he's almost transitioned into looking like the one guy.
Yeah.
That they already had a feeling he would go for next, and they put him in custody.
Yeah, but two things about that. One, I absolutely love that. I love that that's the turning point for the cop to believe them. And after that, the cops from that city show up to the house and are we're here for this dude. And the cops are we were here the whole time, he didn't leave, but there's video evidence. I feel they would still take him. Does it not pass a jurisdiction? Like, I don't...
Yeah, and I guess between small towns and officers from small towns, like, making calls and talking privately to each other, like, look, like, my boss just said this, I got this going on, you could talk to him, whatever. And, like, they kind of show that, and then they let things slide, I guess. I don't know if that's a thing that could even be done, you know, maybe. Maybe in more, like, laid back small towns where people are like, hey, look, just have my boss, like, talk to your boss and it's cool, like, I will let it go.
I feel like I'm also not fully explaining the depth of the show, but it's very good. I feel like Jason Bateman, like, I was shocked that he died, but I think it was good to do it that way and to not drag on the story with him. I like that it created this dynamic with his family. I liked all the characters pretty much. We really, like we said that earlier, they were great. The storyline is great. When
you see some of them die, it's epic.
Yeah,
like,
there's some other deaths.
There's some epic deaths going on towards the end. And the end kind of battle is pretty epic. And then it just dies down for the last half, though.
Yeah.
The ending, the last half, I gotta say, drug
quite
a bit.
Well, the second to last episode was very slow.
Yeah.
And then it picked up right away in the beginning. And then it got slow again. And then it was like, I don't understand what's happening with this. Yeah. I don't know. I would absolutely recommend it. I would give it like a solid 9 or like an 8.5.
Solid 9 or an 8.5.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm around there just because of the way that the last 2 episodes went. Like, I wanted more answers, but again, I can't complain about that because it's Stephen King and he's always leaves things like that.
It kept me driven enough to want to watch it for the 2 days, so I'm going to give it a solid 8.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty good all the way through, and we were hooked right in the beginning because, like, it's pretty gory and intense in the beginning, and they kind of just get the ball rolling, and there's no intro.
No, not really.
And, like, I love that. They're just like, here's the show. Boom. 3-second title thing. And then they go into it. They do a couple transitions here and there, and then that's it.
Yeah. Like I said, I was really here because of Jason Bateman stuff. I was like, holy shit, he's great in this. And then when he died, I was like, all right, I don't know if I'm going to like this. And the rest of the
They threw you in like, hey, Jason Bateman's on the show. Just watch a few episodes.
Yeah.
And then in a few episodes, they kill him, but they're like, hey, wasn't that fun, though? Keep watching. And then you're like, okay. So it's good. It's really good. But the one guy that's Detective Ralph is Ben Mendelsohn. And he's been in, like, a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel, Ready Player One, Rogue One.
He's good. I liked him.
Bloodline. Like, he's been in a lot of stuff.
He's a good actor. I enjoyed his stuff. But yeah, really the only reason why it's not, like, a solid 10 for me is because I didn't get the answers I wanted, I guess.
Yeah, and it would have been a higher rating if, especially to me now, if I would have known that there would have been more seasons, but now that I know there's not, I'm like, then it's a one watch. You could watch it maybe once or twice.
But I love having a series that's just complete and I know it's done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like a double-edged sword with that. Anything that you didn't like that you need to throw in here, or you think we're good?
The only thing I didn't like is there are, like I said, and like you said, there's an episode that drags, and at the ending, the last half I thought kind of dragged, and it wasn't the coolest after resolve that I would have wanted.
Yes.
But it was still a decent ending. I mean, the way the last episode goes, the first half is pretty good, and that whole way they put the kibosh on the main villain is cool.
Yeah. So speaking of like horror, murder, mystery kind of stories, we've been playing that game. I'm sorry, Dark Pictures.
Yeah, it's from that Dark Pictures group.
So I like them because they do what's it called? Until Dawn.
Yeah, this will be a good contrast for us because you really like Until Dawn.
I do.
I tried this game with you, and I do not like this.
Okay, so you didn't try Until Dawn. He doesn't like turn-based games or just dialogue-based things. He wants to just go in and just like fight or adventure.
And well, not only that, but when you do play, it's like it's not a bad story. There is some good scary stuff and everything, but it drags, and there's a lot of dialogue that drags and stuff that they would put on like a sci-fi sitcom.
Yeah, it's mainly more like a movie than it is a game.
Yeah, and with that being said, waiting for that stuff to drag that you wouldn't watch normally.
Yeah.
And then you get to play and it's really janky and the controls are garbage.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. I couldn't get into it. I was ready to fall asleep at every turn.
So he's talking about, what was the name of the game? I'm sorry.
The Dark Pictures, Man of Medan.
Man of Medan. I knew it was Medan, but essentially this game is another one from them. We played it because we watched a trailer for the newest game coming out from them, if you want to look that up. But this one came out last year. And so I was like, hey, I really liked Until Dawn, and I think it would be fun to play this one until the new game comes out, something different. You don't like those type of games, but I do. I like the option to choose your story. Like, if you played Life is Strange or something similar, you would understand, like, the butterfly effect kind of thing. And so I like that in games, and I like all the different characters, and especially in between each story, you get to see kind of like the curator of stories in his library. He's really interesting.
Pip Torrens.
He's also in Until Dawn, so he's like the one who goes through all these stories with you, and I like him.
Yeah, and he kind of talks in between acts, I guess, or chapters, like on how you're doing, your progress. Like
if you're saving people, what you could have done differently. He kind of picks at you. And Until Dawn, he gives you. You know, when you go see like a therapist and they have like these blobs and they're like, what does this look like to you? He does a picture book of that, and I think that kind of changes or helps something with your character. I'm not entirely positive. So
the ink blots.
Ink blots. I'm wondering if there's gonna be more like that in Medan, but it's essentially a story of a dude and his rich girlfriend and rich brother and his brother going on a boat because they're scuba people. And they're going to go look for this abandoned airplane to make money. Like, that's what they think they're going to find.
Go on a trip together.
They go on a boat with a woman who is the boat lady. I don't know what else to say. She drives the boat because they can't drive a boat.
You know, the boat lady.
And they have so much money that they could just hire someone to do it. During the time when they're deep sea diving, they come across a few guys on a boat, like a little speedboat. They get into an accident with the main boat, and later at night, because of the interactions that you can choose, we chose to be kind of dicks, I guess, at that time. They came back to the ship and tried to capture the rich people to get a ransom.
A ransom, yeah.
And it winded up being this whole crazy thing. They found a map that they found deep sea diving earlier.
For like some gold or something.
For some gold
like that,
and some coordinates. And so the people who kidnapped them found the gold sign, or the map rather, and they go, we're going to go to this location. Yeah. And when they get up, it's this old boat, which is one we get introduced to the beginning. It's essentially like World War II. And we see two characters that are in a different country. They get into their ship, and there's a kind of plague that goes out. But it's like some kind of smoky thing.
Spooky wooky fog, basically. It's ghost fog.
Yeah, it comes from some sort of box in the basement, and some water comes in and it makes it go through all the pipes. And there's some bodies in caskets on there, and I think those
messes them up or something.
Yeah, I don't really know because we haven't gotten that far.
Yeah, but they play some heavy metal when that happens, so you kind of assume that the dark arts is going down.
Well, I just like water tale stories, like horror stories in the water or things like that. It reminds me of Ghost Ship, kind of, which is like a...
No, this is definitely Ghost Ship
right?
vibes.
That's what it feels
like. The whole way through. When they when the pirates kidnap these guys and then they're trying to go to the coordinates and they stumble across this big abandoned boat and they decide to go on it maniacs.
It's quite fantastic. And so that's what drew me to the story, because I like the idea of a haunted ship, like the Queen Mary I want to go to so bad, and these things are interesting to me. But the point we got to was basically our main group gets locked in a room, they escape the room, and then we ended it because we were playing for a few hours. Because the one thing I'll say, the main intro story about the World War II ship is so long. And then after that you have to get an introduction to your group. So it was an hour before we actually got to the main story.
Yeah, it really was dragging for me to get into that main story and to get some spooky wooky time going.
Which I was like, shit, he's not going to be into the game now.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, I got to talk to this person about nothing.
I do like that they did the intro so you could understand what happened with the ship and the characters and stuff, but it was just a little, if they cut it down maybe 15, 20 minutes... it would have been fine.
Or if the controls were at least better. So, after getting frustrated waiting for them to get through that, to then be frustrated trying to be I hate these controls. Get back to another cutscene then.
Well, the thing is, too, there's points where you have to, rapidly press it or you hold it and it doesn't really say it sometimes.
Yeah, and if I'm not paying attention and I'm like, okay, I'm not playing anymore, it's a cutscene, I'm kind of starting to, like, just relax and drag, and then, like, a button comes up and I'm like, shit, where's the controller? And, like, I'm looking in my lap, like, in the dark, like, where's my controller? Damn it.
Yeah.
At one point, I forgot that you had the controller, so, like, I would start to be, like, tired, and I'm watching it, and then the buttons would come up, and I'd be like, ah, like, and then I'd look over, and I'd be like, oh, she's got the controller, okay. And I'm like, oh, this is whack.
I wish that, well, because the thing is, if you don't, like, tap it fast enough, that changes your action of your story, too. So, like, everything is, like, such a quick reaction, but the controls aren't as easy to use. I agree on that.
I wonder if we just don't press anything, if everybody will die right in the beginning. Or if it'll still just go. If the game will play without me touching anything at all. And just letting it go.
Yeah.
And just be like, look, I don't care, I'm tired. I'm not waiting for these buttons to come up. And just letting it go.
I think there's like 256 endings to Until Dawn. Now, I don't know how many there is.
Okay. That's a lot. I wouldn't play it that
14 different endings for the game we have.
Yeah, I wouldn't play it that many times because
No,
I wouldn't do that intro again.
No, you could watch. I mean, Until Dawn's intro is a little bit different.
Unless you save like midway through it with everybody alive, and then just like start to let everybody die.
You can save, and then you can go back to different points in the game. We're also playing co-op, which I got excited for. I thought it would be like we could play split screen, and then it would take different times. But it's basically like when your character's up. In the beginning, you get to choose which ones you want to play with.
Yeah, you basically split, like, she gets a team of 3, I get a team of 3.
No, well, I guess I was 3. It was the original storyline character, but he's gone, so I have 2 and you have 3. And we switch back and forth, that's what it is. But it's split up between, you can do up to 5 players, so everybody can play one person if you wanted to. And you can play online as well. So we've been just looking for things that are like couch co-ops and split screen.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's interesting. I'm interested in the fact that there's so many endings, of course. I mean, I'll take 14 over 256. I'll watch them on YouTube before I go to play them again.
Yeah, I would probably watch them on YouTube, but I don't think I would play through this game multiple times. That's for sure. I don't even think I'll play through this whole game. I might let you play it and watch you.
Yeah.
But I don't think I can do it. It's just not for me.
What is the new game? I'm going to look it up right now.
The new one they got?
Little
This one
Hope,
just came out, though.
No.
This one came out in August of last year.
I understand, but I'm saying there's another game coming out. That's why we started watching this, or playing this, rather. See, I'm saying watching this. It's called Little Hope. We watched the trailer for that.
Oh, okay, yes, we did.
So this is why we started playing again, because I love Until Dawn. I've played it, you have, and that's all about, like, Wendigos and shit. It's actually really interesting. And I like that they do different lore and fantasy creatures. Like, that's what I'm all about. So this is, like, very ghost meets creature, which we haven't seen what it is yet for Medan because we haven't played all the way through, but there's one point where you can see like big kind of finger looking, tentacle looking things. Little Hope looks like it's very like witchcrafty and almost like I don't want to say like, I don't know, the church is involved. Like that's what it seems like to me, like satanic or like like almost like culty witch stuff, which looks really interesting to me. And I mean, the games are beautiful. The one guy is in the last game, too, right? That's in this? Which one? The one Sean Ashmore. He plays Conrad. Was he in the game you played? I don't know. I'm gonna look. But they use the real actors' faces, obviously, which is really nice, and I like that. It's all like motion cap stuff. Hayden Panettiere is in the first one. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. Let me see. Well, his face is so fucking familiar. Oh, he's in The Following. Yeah, he was in The Following, which is what I remember him from, which was really cool. I like The Following. If anybody got to watch that show, he's from
really
Cadet Kelly from Disney Channel.
Well, he's Iceman on X-Men. Yeah, I don't know about.
He's in so much stuff.
What is it? Kelly what?
Cadet Kelly's when Hillary, and he was in Smallville.
Is that a Kim Possible character?
No, Cadet Kelly is Hilary Duff. Goes to military school because her mom is going to marry a guy who's like a sergeant, and Chrissy Romano's in it, and she plays Kim Possible, and she's like a bad bitch, and Hilary Duff needs to go in there, and that's her like man crush. You're welcome. Oh, well,
he was in The Following, and he was Iceman.
Yeah, well, so he's also, he does Iceman's voice in the video game, so go him.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he was just in Man of Medan, but... getting back to that, once we finish the game, we'll give you a full review on that. we obviously won't play all. I really like it. Yeah.
It's going to be a heavy contrast in reviews on this game, for sure.
For you is you could just say, I don't like the controls in this, but the actual story is what I want you to review. That's it. So Little Hope, the trailer looks really good. We like dark shit. That's, if you're a horror person, which I'm sure you are because you're here, definitely give a trailer like that.
There's a lot of metal in the game.
Sure.
Like going crazy.
Yeah, that's what we've been playing recently, besides Animal Crossing, and...
No, she plays just Animal Crossing.
I play it every day.
Well, we get like an hour or two of any other game maybe once a day.
No, we play our games at night, because what are you going to sit down and play games during the day? No, that's not you.
Yeah, that's right. It's work time.
Work. Okay, so we've been playing Yooka-Laylee. Segue off that a little bit.
Yo, Yooka-Laylee's awesome.
Yeah, it's a game that came out a couple years ago by Rare developers, so people who worked on like Banjo-Kazooie, if you are familiar with like that Nintendo 64 game.
Same vibes.
Yeah, that's my favorite console, and so Rare games were my favorite. I was really into Rare games at the time, and so this game, when it came out, I was super stoked for. It came out as a Kickstarter game originally, and I think it's on multiple platforms, but it's, again, like a open, like, platform kind of world adventure style game where you have to collect quills and pages and it's very, you play as
Yooka, a male chameleon, and Laylee, a female bat.
They're super cute.
And you go and like collect items, solve puzzles, defeat enemies and everything.
She sits on his head and they're so cute.
Yeah, it's just I forgot about how big the game is,
it's
and
huge.
Like it's a lot of fun, and if you're big into like Donkey Kong 64, Banjo-Kazooie, Chameleon Twist, all those types of games. Then this is the game to go to and play. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
If you were a kid growing up with the nostalgic aspect of Rare games, you
adventuring
will love this
around
game.
The little worlds.
It fits perfectly into that. The music is great. It feels like every, Banjo type of game.
Yeah, and it's like those typical games where like you got a big like ice world and a big like temple world and this and that, and like so it's a lot of fun, and there's like little bosses, but there's lots of puzzles, and it's a lot to collect and stuff. So if you're one of those people that just likes to chug along the platformers and find all the little goodies, all the golden teeth or whatever they put in games.
We try to get like 100% on every level.
Yeah, I like to go back and back and back and 100%.
Well, once you get new moves, you can access new things. Like now we can fly around, so we're going to high places and collecting items.
I'm like going to things I probably shouldn't even go on,
but
like just for fun.
My favorite is like, in any kids show or game, there might be jokes for adult humor. There's so much adult humor in this game.
There is a lot. I mean, just like with one of the ways you use your character, like the chameleon, when you go in the water, if you swim underwater, you can do a big fart bubble and then go in it, and it drops to the ground.
A fart?
Yeah.
I never noticed.
And then he can run around on the surface, like, and not have to swim slowly.
Yeah.
And like, I thought that was really funny.
I didn't notice it was a fart. That's so
funny. Early in the game when you play it and they introduce the move, that's how you know it's a fart bubble.
Well, speaking of moves, my favorite thing is that you can buy them from the trouser snake.
Yeah, and he's a snake that like is looped, and he's wearing a pair of pants through the loop.
And his name's like Trouser.
Yeah.
Right? And so you buy moves from him once you get enough, I think, quills or whatever it may be. Quills for that.
Yeah, and you'll see him in each world, and then he'll give you the opportunity to learn like a big move to help you throughout the world.
But there's always like innuendos with his name and stuff, and like there's one point where you're a flower and you're trying to pollinate the other flowers, and they're like really sexual. So it's like, it's not as sexual as Conquer, because Conquer was clearly made for as adults.
This is like a kid could play and would never know.
Would never know, but it's funny when you're like, oh shit, they did that. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, you've been mostly playing and I've been watching, because, I don't know, I like to watch you play. It's just...
That's how I play every game.
No, I play a lot of games, bitch.
I know, I'm messing with you.
You better watch me play Animal Crossing for 4 hours.
Yeah, that's the most I've ever seen you play any game.
Yeah, because it's special.
Intense.
Well, the thing is...
For those of you who are lost in that, I'm sorry.
We'll talk about Animal Crossing at the end of this. We'll finish with Yooka-Laylee. Definitely, like, if you need something to play, it's not a brand new game, but it's worth buying. A lot of games are actually discounted online right now. So, like, if you're buying from the shops, like, digitally, you will get them for a good price.
There's a new Yooka-Laylee game coming out, but I'm tired of it. Like, they're doing the same thing they did with Rayman, where they took a fun 3D adventure platformer world, and then they went 2D side-scroller. I'm tired of that cop-out, because then they're like, oh, we don't have to do as many controls. We don't have to worry about the rotating cameras
Yeah.
and wonky camera angles and
It's
this
fine.
and that.
It's just not our
No.
cup of tea. Some people really like that. I like old school, like retro arcade looking games, and that's fine.
Yeah, I like to just play my retro games. There's so many of them.
Yeah, but this definitely hits all the right spots if you're into like nostalgic N64 games or you just want a good adventure game.
It's on everything. It's on Switch, Xbox One,
The
PlayStation
worlds
4.
are
PC, Mac.
gorgeous. Really, really nice. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you give that game? Because like we're just chugging along to 100%. So like I'm playing it. I'm gonna be playing it for countless hours.
Yeah, I can't say because we didn't finish, but I would give it like an 8. I'm pretty happy with it.
I would give it a solid 8.
I don't think there's anything I dislike about it really. I mean, it's so big that we took a few months off of it and opening it back up again. I'm like, I don't even remember what the fuck we're supposed to be
Yeah, and we still got so much more to get done,
Yeah.
even opening it back up after chugging along for quite a while.
Yeah.
So like, cool, I'm in it. I'm back into it, so I'll be playing that for a while. Especially because like I'm not finding any more games like this.
No, there's not.
And
a lot
like
of good
I just
adventure
found
games.
my Mario 64 DS,
Yes.
but like that is 100% completed also.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing left, and I'm like, damn, because I wanted to play that again, and I was like, oh wait, I completed the remake again. Like
I
so
really
I was
want
oh,
like
crap.
a good Switch game. We've been playing like Tie for a little bit. We tried that, but
That one's pretty fun. I might
Yeah.
go back and finish, do that one at some point. Maybe when I'm done this, I'll go
Yeah.
play that one.
Tie the Tasmanian Tiger was a game I had for the PS2 when I was a kid, and it's essentially like Tasmanian Tiger. He's in Australia. He has boomerangs that he throws around.
I'm just bummed they didn't remaster it.
I wish they went in and remastered it, but I
Yeah.
don't think it's as well loved as a game. But all of his boomerangs, every like so often when you collect items, you can upgrade them. So you can get like fire ones, you can get ice ones, you get underwater ones. So they all do different things.
Rangs, they're called.
And you have to collect like 300 little coins, and then there's like talismans and stuff. So it's a really fun story if you like open world games. I just wish the resolution was a little.
I
bit
played
better.
the remake of Ratchet and Clank that
Yeah.
they did on PS4, and that was awesome.
I think we
The
talked about this
remaster
before.
was so good.
Yeah.
So like games like that, those I love all those types of games.
Yeah.
So that's probably why I'll end up playing the Tiger one.
Animal Crossing tip of the day. Tomorrow, I'm having an Animal Crossing party for like 3 hours, and so what?
Didn't you already do that?
No, it's a different one. I'm doing them weekly, like
Oh.
things to things. But
You
I'm
mean
doing
daily?
No, it's a cataloging party. So that means, for example, for anybody who's playing, this is a good tip for you. If you have a friend who has cool things on your island, like everybody comes to my island because they want to get my arcade machines, what you do is player 1, which is me, picks up my arcade machines, puts them in the inventory. Player 2, which is you, is outside. I drop them for player 2. Player 2 picks them up. Player 2 drops again, and then player 1 takes them back. So when you go home to your island, you can buy them on the Nook kiosk, and it doesn't cost you anything to put them. You'll have them in your inventory to buy as many as you want. So it's really fun. Like
Oh, so like it's just like grab my item, it'll register for your system,
registers.
and then just give it back to me.
yeah, and that's like the easiest way to get stuff in this game.
Like basically trading Pokemon and then trading them back, just so like, oh, it's marked in your Pokedex now.
Yep, and it's going to upload on Sunday, our podcast, which is the Turnip Day. Go to the Turnip Exchange, which is a website that the internet is crazy with Animal Crossing. So turnips you could buy from $92 to like $107, and that's per stack of turnip, and they do like 10 per stack, but you could do like 100 in them. It's a whole big thing. But the key is to find a resale value of 500 and up, because then you become a billionaire real fast. And there's a website called Turnip Exchange that people made. It's like not from Nintendo, where you can list if your island's like selling stuff, but mostly it's for turnips. And people will post like, oh, I have turnips for $600 today. Come bring me like 1,000 bells, or 100,000 bells, or different items to the island, and you can come sell for your turnips. And then you make a lot of money. It's crazy to me that the internet has shit like this.
I don't know. We're in quarantine, so like maybe they'll do a turnip thing right here.
They
in the
do Nookazon, like Amazon, and on there you
can't
can
even
find
handle
people who have items that you need to buy, as well as if your villager is in boxes and moving out, you could sell your villager to other people. And on eBay, there's people paying.
Selling your villagers.
Yeah.
That's weird.
So when they're in boxes, they're leaving your island, and let's say you come to
You
my...
put your villager in a box?
No, they pack up their house. They're in boxes is the term.
This is
but
rough.
if you were to come to my island
Trafficking.
and say, hey, I want, stitches, then you would talk to him, and if you have a plot open, then you could take him. So people are saying, hey...
And does he come with bricks?
No.
Cocaine?
No, he's not. He's a bear. Can you not say things like that? He's not the rapper.
He's not the rapper Stitches?
I'm just saying that there's a lot of things about Animal Crossing that people don't realize are really profitable in good ways. So those are my Animal Crossing tips. What's up?
Like on some World of Warcraft, selling characters and stuff?
Well, eBay. I told you about that. There's people on eBay where I think you pay $5 to $20, and somebody will come to your island or you'll go to their island with a dodo code, or you give them whatever it is, and they bring you the amount of in-game money. So, you do it, on an app when you're playing a game, and you're like, oh, I need, 10,000 coins, here's $5.
Yeah.
They do that with eBay.
I know that there's some games that you can, that they do that, and a lot of people make a lot of money off of, because I know the IRS at one point was cracking down on people for that.
Yo, that's crazy.
And it's really easy for them to catch you because they see your online transactions.
Yeah.
And they actually, I know World of Warcraft and things like that actually had government workers, like IRS workers, that pretty much would log on to the games, and they would play. They had characters, and they could oversee things that were going on.
Just somebody with a high-ass level character like that.
Yeah, I know especially, I know there's other countries that are majorly against that because they know there's a lot of people making money doing that, and they're not getting that green off.
Speaking of other countries, can we talk about how China is banning Animal Crossing stuff? What happened? We watched something on it the other day.
Yeah, I don't what is that about?
So China's very strict about gaming in general. We've heard this over stuff with Blizzard, for example, in the past year. And a lot of people are boycotting.
I know why.
Yeah, so...
It's because you have the freedom to do banners and logos and stuff like that.
Yes.
So a lot of people were doing protesting and freedom of speech stuff in a country that doesn't have that.
Yeah.
And the government was like, no, dude.
Yeah.
You can't do that here.
Yeah. In a game where you fish and farm and you get animals and cute animals on your thing, you're going to protest, and people do it as a joke, I feel like. It's not serious protesting.
Well, I mean, it's just like if you were a guy that was real into politics and your character, you made it Thomas Jefferson. And you're like, oh, I'm running around being a hero as Thomas Jefferson, and you did that there, but it was somebody that they didn't agree with necessarily, and they're a different type of government.
Well,
so they're like, no, dude.
They have Founding Fathers wigs, so you could dress up like George Washington and shit, and it's really great.
Yeah. And, if China saw that, and then you had a big thing, about the Hong Kong protests or something, they'd be like, nope. They'd be like, yoink that game.
And I'm not laughing at the Hong Kong situation, because it's absolutely disgusting.
No, we're just laughing in the fact that because it's a video game, and this is what
especially because it's a game, against some of the Blizzard games, it's crazy, whatever. This is a game with cute villager animals, and you fish and plant stuff all day, and this is what you're upset about. That's the fucking craziest thing to me. I cannot. With that being said, I think that's everything.
I think that should be a good opportunity for our government to look into kids who have played Animal Crossing for excessive amounts of times and then test them on whether or not they know how to plant anything in real life.
Yeah. If only
Because I'll be like, hey kid, you've played this for 500 hours. Do you know how to grow any of this stuff?
I have
I got a garden in the back.
5 million bells in my
I'm gonna get a garden. You better start gardening now.
I want to, but what I'm saying is I have 5 million bells in my bank, and my bank account doesn't look like that in real life, and I'm very upset about it. But I think that's everything I have to say today. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, that covers everything for today.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to us. If you want to listen to us in our previous episodes, we are over at podcastfortherecently-released.com. You can find us on there and find our websites, which is Spotify and SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, I think we're on now, Google Play. So there's a lot of different ways to listen to us, as well as directly through our website.
Yeah.
On there, I also link both of our shops. So if you want to support us at this time, JoBot shop is open. We give stickers with every order, and my shop, LewisStars.com, has a coupon code which is at home, and you can save some coin with that. So that's it for the moment, I think, right?
Yeah. Thanks a bunch for watching.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to yet another episode of Podcasts for the Recently Released. If you want to peep some of our older episodes, we've got a ton of them. Just check us out on podcastfortherecentlyreleased.com. We've got merch, older episodes, links for other ways to listen to us, and more. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Don't let your meatloaf. Stay safe out there, guys.